everybody, CJ Bachmann here, and welcome back to another episode of the One SEO podcast. Today, I am joined by Carolyn Pachas.
Hi, CJ. How are you? Thank you.
Great. Carolyn, I can say your name, which I appreciate because I didn't think I was going to get it right first take. But real quickly, I can't memorize everything that you've accomplished. But you are a digital marketing specialist with a wealth of experience in sales, marketing, real estate, resource development, working with small business owners and nonprofits. Am I correct? Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't.
All right,
you did it all.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
So yes, you actually are correct. First, I started as a real estate agent, and I loved utilizing Facebook to market. So anything that I saw that could help on the property sense, yes, I utilized Facebook at the beginning when it started. Then I left real estate in 2011, and I dedicated myself for a couple of years, 12 years to be exact, to nonprofit organizations. So I was working with a local nonprofit in Bucks County. First, I was a family center coordinator for one of their centers. We produced a lot of programs and helped in the community. I certified myself as a TESOL. So I started teaching English, and I loved teaching. And then the opportunity came for resource development. So I worked with a nonprofit, helping them out for events, and the marketing, their websites. But my background is actually in communications. So I studied communications, media, and marketing, and that helped me as well.
It's so amazing to hear people's backstories and kind of, see where someone started and where they're at now and all the little steps in between. I even look back on myself, I wanted to be a teacher when I was in high school, and then, I worked at a sports store, and then, just all these little jumps that just kind of all now things from each one of those really resonate with what I'm doing now and how I interact with my employees or how I interact with clients. So it's really cool. So thank you for sharing. But let's dive into kind of the meat and potatoes of it. So social media marketing is one thing that you really truly enjoy. And for a lot of people, the algorithms and kind of understanding are very, very difficult. So talk to me a little bit about the importance of understanding those algorithms to enhance your campaigns.
So I call it the secret sauce of marketing,
the
algorithms,
throw it out there.
Right? So it's basically telling us as we look into the algorithms, where is your audience? What are your social media channels that you're going to be using? What are the posts you're going to be writing, the skills you're going to be using, and the keywords? And then after that, you're going to make sure that your reach and your engagement is successful so that you could have what you want, which is either purchasing or people to come and book for your services and call you up. So that's basically the sauce. And I call it the science of marketing because I remember growing up, I hated math. So I thought, why do we have to do math all the time? But then I realized in marketing, it's not only about the art and how beautiful this campaign may look, but also at the end, it's the math that tells us the numbers. So follow the numbers. It will tell you if your campaign is going to be a success.
Yeah, and it can also be the most infuriating part, right? Because you look at your creative, especially for marketers or even business owners, and you're so excited about the visual appeal. And then you've got someone pushing back and saying, that's not going to work. And, you're the bad guy. But the reality of the situation is that the data doesn't lie. The data really will tell you what's resonating with your audience, what's working, what's not working. So I agree with you. Love the secret sauce. One of the things, and most companies, One SEO included, are guilty of this, but constant reinventing the branding. So talk to me a little bit about why consistency in your branding and what you put out there is important.
So I look at it as perfect example when we start building campaigns. Do we want to build trust in with the audience and who is looking at our digital marketing campaign? So if we want to build that trust, we want to have consistency from your website to your business cards to your social media channels. Every printed material must have the same color scheme, the same font, the same architecture, as we call it, the bones, and it has to enhance and people can translate and say, that that color reminds me of this product that is being sold. Coca-Cola is the perfect example of marketing school. It was the first company that we looked in our research where Coca-Cola started as the all-Americana symbol for over the years, right? So that's how we look at branding. We look at, okay, something that resonates. If I'm going to use a color scheme, it should stay consistent on everything you put out there for your business.
Little fun fact, I just heard that Dr. Pepper beat out Pepsi for number 2 as far as the most indulged beverage. So Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper. Ironically, Coca-Cola owns Dr. Pepper.
Yes. Good
That
campaign
monopoly
builder.
is getting tighter and tighter.
Yes.
So I love that. And consistency is so important. It's so easy for people to get confused about a brand and what a brand is able to do. But even more important than that these days is, especially with generative AI and new technology, you're seeing a lot of companies pop up that are like, you don't need an experienced marketer, you don't need an agency, you can do it yourself. In your opinion, why is it so crucial to a business to work with an experienced marketer to be successful?
Well, first of all, marketers are people. And they are also consumers, and they understand and they do marketing analysis. They study and they take their time to evaluate what will work. Plus, they have the experience to test the time and say, hey, I went through this with another campaign I built with a successful marketing firm or with my colleagues, and this is what worked for us and what will not work for you. So that's the reason why AI cannot compete with a human being just yet. We cannot always say that AI will be able to do a perfect marketing campaign.
Right. I think it can help with placement, and it can, help get better data and bring back better information. But that human overlay component, like you said, they know what it's like to be a consumer, right? They know what it's like to walk into that store or have somebody come into your home. So when we're talking with clients, we're understanding their pain points at a different level that technology can't, it can't do. Another thing too with the technology that's really kind of popping up is cost, right? So talk a little bit about how, in your opinion, marketers set up their pricing and their cost to be able to, have a profit, but also provide savings and make it feasible for businesses to work with an agency.
Of course. So it's like everything else. If you're going to be with a doctor, you're going to have to pay for that doctor to see you. And the same is with marketers. Marketers have the knowledge, experience, the tools that they have to utilize in order for them to help you build your campaigns. We have to use from our computers and PC. We have to utilize energy, electricity, pay employees, pay our taxes on time. We also, as everybody else, have to get some education and certifications to make sure that we're providing you the best. So every year we have to be on Google Analytics, taking certificate courses, and that's costly. Not only that, but for example, I am taking my MBA now in marketing. I don't have to go on and about the pricing on college. Right. But the opportunity that we have to provide you the best is because we have to also invest in ourselves to provide you the best service that we can.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that re-education and constant education, like it happens in a lot of fields. Like teachers are required to do continued education. And that's the same thing, for us, we want to continue to stay at the forefront, but it's also, we require our employees to stay at the forefront. And there's a cost to that, right? It's not a set and let it go.
All the tools that you have to utilize are expensive. Software that you have to use and time and effort.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And something else that I want to touch on is, we work with, and I know you do as well, we work with small clients and mid-sized clients, large clients, enterprise, franchises. It's not a one-size-fit-all. So talk a little bit about, the difference in how you handle a smaller client than you would an enterprise client.
Sure. So basically, a small client, it all comes down to their budget. What can they work with? And also the fact that a lot of times the small business owner wants to work local. So most of their campaigns might be more organic, reels, short stories, everything that has to do with what they're doing before and after product, anything creative on that side. They might not have to be spending too much money on tools and resources from us. So that's how we build our campaigns. Whereas larger companies might need to utilize larger budgets. I used to work with a marketing firm that most of our target audience was the medical field because they were pharmaceutical companies. So they would spend way more money on the tools and on multiple social media campaigns.
And the audience can be different as well. So like you said, a smaller a business that's just getting off the ground, like they're probably staying within, a very small radius, right? They don't have a large crew. They can't travel, large distances. So not only are they going to have a smaller budget, but they're also going to have a smaller audience that they're trying to go after. And then as you get larger and larger, they can gain more territory and have more coverage area or a larger store or e-commerce or whatever the case may be, to where that audience starts to grow. So I think the important thing when it comes to understanding that marketing is you've got to start somewhere, right? And nowadays you can't just, create an LLC, launch that business, and expect that you're going to be able to compete. If you're a great networker and you have great referrals, you might be able to sustain and build a life for yourself, but you're not going to be able to beat your competition. You're not going to really be able to grow a lifestyle business.
That's correct.
Yeah. So I want to kind of end the conversation on talking a little bit about the integration of the organic and paid efforts, right? So a lot of times, like you mentioned, the smaller people lean more towards organic because it's more cost effective, right? There's less money involved in it. But I believe that there's, a very good benefit to having an integration of both paid and non-paid. So talk a little bit about that.
So sure. So the integration helps us to actually create campaigns that are more local. So you're basing it more into the organic base, where you're looking more at your local audience and you're spending less money and time on that. But at the larger scale, you're doing paid ads, which gives you higher numbers and higher, faster results. So yes, we will talk about the small effort combined with the larger effort so that you get to target both audiences, local and a larger audiences space.
Awesome. Well, I thank you so much for joining. And I just want to remind the audience on a couple of things that we touched on today. So one of them is make sure that you're consistent with your branding. It's super important that when it comes across your brand, that they have the same instance, the same visual appeal every time they're touching you. That's how you're going to become embedded in their brain, and they're going to start to be aware of your brand, and you're going to build great awareness throughout that. So be cautious of having different angles or different elements within your marketing. And I think the other piece too is don't be afraid to start somewhere. So if you're a small business and you're listening to us talk and you're like, there's absolutely no way I can pay an agency, there are agencies that can handle startup companies. There are agencies that can handle very, very small one truck type of organizations. There is a marketing agency, a marketing expert that can help you and get you off the ground and running. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I really appreciate it. To everybody listening, go out there, brand yourself, get involved, market, play with the algorithms, learn what works for you, and join us right back here next time for another episode of the One SEO podcast.
Thank you so much for having us.
I am so glad you were here. Thank you.